What's up, Red Sox Nation? Eduardo Rodriguez loses his no-hitter on a replay overturn today in the 8th inning. Terrible, but a pretty good week for the Sox. We'll talk all about it and look forward to the rest of the road trip all this week on Red Sox Wrap 360.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, man. You folks now know why we're coming into this. We lost one of the great ones this week, Mr. Gene Wilder. I'm a personal fan of his, as is, I think, everybody who's likes to laugh, enjoys laughter.
And I asked you before the show, how are you planning to tie this into the Red Sox? And you didn't have an idea. I just thought of one.
Okay, bring that back. What do you got?
We had Mr. Moncada get called up, and I'll let you take the full analysis on that later. But there was a story about Moncada that said at one point he ate 255 Twinkies in a single week.
No way.
So let's keep him away from Pablo when he comes back, because I think those two are going to be trouble.
Wow. I think I could get that.
Yeah.
I mean, in my heyday. I mean, I think really, feats of eating strength should be kind of confined to a more, finer time of like 20 minutes or something, not a whole week, Yeah. Because I can run through about 100 Twinkies in the first 24 hours, and then I'm pretty much coasting.
Yeah.
And I got that.
Yeah, and I don't know. There was no validity that I was able to gain from that, so that was just kind of a hearsay.
That's math isn't my strong suit, but that's roughly about 35 Twinkies a day. I mean, who can't take that?
That's not impressive. Twinkies though. That's a lot over a week.
It is. Oh, gang. Thanks for joining us for another edition of Red Sox Wrap 360 alongside Ben Fay. I am Mike Conley. Joining us tonight, we have Ben's better half, who's kind of monitoring the interwebs for us. Ben, why'd you bring your better half in here today?
Yeah, sure. So we got Laura here on the couch.
Yeah!
Yeah, guys. So she's going to be watching on the Twitter sphere. She's going to be watching on the YouTube live chat room. So if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, you just want to rip our heads off because we are so wrong about something, you got to tweet. You got to send in a message to the YouTube chat room. Let us know. Laura's going to relay it to us, and we'll give you some live analysis right there on the spot.
Woo! More like fan analysis, I think, is a little
fan
more
analysis,
accurate.
But
it's not like either one of us played pro ball, Ben.
Are you getting any of that from Nesson right now?
Wow, letting everybody
live analysis? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Wow. Yeah, if you want to talk to us live during the show, hit us up there. But also, if you guys are listening to this during the week, hit us up in the YouTube comment section, or you can tweet Ben at Ben's Twitter, which is...
Yeah, it's at Benny Frickin' Jam.
Love that.
Yep.
Love that
Yep.
at Benny Freaking Jam.
Yep.
So let's talk about this team we love so well, okay? After combining for 27 runs in the first two games of the A series on 34 hits, they're only able to muster 6 hits today and can't push across a single run. So Eduardo Rodriguez, who had a no-hitter through 7 2/3, he goes with the no decision, but the Red Sox lose. And so, therefore, they were in first place, in a tie for first place for about, 16, 17 hours. And so now they're one game back of the Jays, who won today.
Right.
On Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, a tough game, but at the same time, great to see Eduardo, pitch a solid outing. He had that one play there where it came back and it hit him in the foot. And he kind of scrambled to get the ball and, let up a hit there. But
that was the hit.
I mean...
That was the hit.
Besides that, a great effort. I think that's exactly what we wanted to see is Eduardo start to round into form as we get late into the season and certainly showing like he has.
Yeah, originally Marcus Semien was called out on the play, but then per a replay overturn.
Yep.
It It showed that he was out. See, so that's that's an example of why the replay is horrible, because it's kind of a bang bang play, and that ump, he's like, I'm gonna give it to the guy who's got the no hitter going. He just took a line shot back to his foot, and then scrambled to make the play. It's like, give it to him. It's like, if you're playing pickup football and your buddy makes an incredible play, but he's like kind of out of bounds by an inch.
Yep.
You got to give him that play.
Well, we got it back,
I don't
though.
know how that analogy.
We got it back. I wasn't sure if it was today or yesterday where, was it Pedroia was sliding into second, or was it Mookie sliding into second? I forget who it was. And the shortstop took his foot off the bag before he made the throw to first. Oh, that was today, and it was bases loaded, and they still couldn't score. It was Mookie. That's right.
Yeah.
It was Mookie. He was safe into second after the replay.
Yeah.
So we kind of got it back there. Bases loaded. The only problem with that was bases loaded, 1 out, and we couldn't score.
Yeah, well, we've had trouble with the bases loaded this year. This prolific hitting offense, has had trouble with the bases loaded. Early in the week, I think Dave O'Brien mentioned on the telecast they were hitting like 214 with bases loaded. They have got a little better this past week, though. I mean, Hanram's grand slam was a big one in turning the tables on that trend, so that was good. It's good to see Erod going well. Right now, I think the A's have about 3 major league hitters in that lineup, though. So I'm not getting super excited over this outing.
Yeah.
I am getting excited, but not, in fact, super excited. But he was great today. I mean, he went 8 full, didn't allow a run, 5 Ks, 2 walks. So the Sox just couldn't push him a run across. I mean, they were 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position, left 9 on base. So, and it was tough. The way they lost it, too, was like, Holt with that bobble out there and left, and they were able to score the guy from first. But
that's right. Yep.
Hey.
Error. That was an error, by the way, at the end of the game. Yeah, that was a little tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a tough way to lose it, but, I mean, still, tough game. They played well for most of the game.
Yeah, I mean, you're on the road. If you take 2 out of 3 of the series, you got to be content with that. But when they won the first 2, it would have been nice to get this one, especially with such a sparkling pitching performance. Yet another example of the Red Sox getting one facet of the game, but not quite getting the other. They got the great starting pitching today, and not so much in the hitting. But and then let's say Craig Kimbrell came up and blew it out in the ninth. That guy, he came in, it wasn't a safe situation. He's just a different pitcher when he's on that safe situation. And it's like, I can understand why Dombrowski brought him in, because we needed to improve the bullpen. You're like, hey, this guy's a top 5 reliever for the past 5 years. It's like, let's go get this guy. And it was cool, but maybe you get the feeling like, especially when he starts walking guys lead off, that he doesn't have the pinpoint control that he once had.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just him coming over to the tougher league. I don't know, but
yeah, it's definitely been a little bit of a disappointing trend, but overall, I think he's done all right. I'm not too worried about it. I mean, he's not going to get them all, but the other thing that happened in this game was, speaking of players making silly mistakes, Moncada picked up the error in the first.
He did have an error
in the field, and then turned around and got on base and got picked off. So
these are the lumps you have to deal with when you have some 21-year-olds on the team. And it's good, hey, you get them up in September, and hopefully these lumps get out of the way in the first half of the month, and we can get this guy kind of rolling and possibly be a contributor to a playoff team. Knock wood. Hello. So, Laura, we got some people up in the Twitterverse, shouting out at us, or the YouTube-verse.
Yeah, we have Star Drew on YouTube who just asked, how close is Mookie to having 30 steals and 30 home runs?
Woo! I love that. Well, he's already got the 30 bombs.
Yep.
He got that this week with his 100 RBIs.
Sure did.
So those are milestone in their own right. I'm thinking he's around, 22 steals-ish? Maybe we can, let your fingers do the walking over there. But, I'll just start talking about Yoan Moncada and what we appreciate the show. What was that guy's name again?
Star Drew.
Star Drew. Thanks for listening in with us. We appreciate that. we always this is our weekly rudderless discussion on all things Red Sox, gang. So when you kind of join us in that discussion and maybe put a rudder on it and steer us in a different direction, we love that. So
21 steals.
21 steals.
Not sure he's going to get to 30 this year.
No.
Here's an interesting question for our fans.
Okay.
And for Star Drew, if you're out there, anybody else are out there listening to this, Mookie has reached 100 RBIs this year, which is great.
Okay.
But he was the 4th Red Sox player in history to hit 30 home runs and 20 stolen bases in a year. Anybody want to take a guess in the fandom of our Red Sox Rap 360 show as to who the other 3 were?
Ooh, I like that. Let's chew on that for a while, and we'll come back to that. If we don't hear from anybody, you'll give us the answers at the end of this program. Which I didn't do last week when I threw out a question there, because Petey has been on this prolific run coming into today's game. Since he got moved to that top spot, he was hitting .461 in that top spot, and he went 2 for 4 today, so that's only going up.
Crazy.
But he had that run where he had like 11 straight hits, last week, and the record is 12, and it was last done by Walt Dropo in 52.
Yep.
But I said there was a Red Sox guy that did it too. Nobody came in with the answer, but that answer for you guys that I know are waiting with bated breath for a week now, that was Pinky Higgins.
Oh, wow.
Back in 1938.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. But Petey is absolutely scorching. You love to see that.
Do you think he still doesn't like the leadoff spot?
I mean,
Because he's like, this is actually way better than I thought it was.
Yeah. I mean, there's too much put on that, because, I mean, he's the leadoff guy, like, all right, once, And the Red Sox have such a kind of stacked bottom 3 that there's going to be ducks on the pond when Petey's getting up.
That's right.
Just not on his first, at bat. And, hey, Petey, don't go and lead the AL and ground it into double plays, and maybe we won't have to put you up there to ensure you don't get into that the first time. But we love the guy. He's unbelievable, heart and soul of the club.
Yep.
So, it seems like Bogarts hopefully is coming out of his little funk.
Yep.
I mean, he hung an 0-4 up there today, but I don't know. It seems like anytime he puts two games together, I think he's going to be coming out of it, and then he goes and puts a clunker up today, and it's like, ugh. And like Poppy, he's starting to get in a little bit of a funk, Sandy Leon's hopefully coming out of his. He had a couple hot balls today, but he just hit the last homestand. He was like 4 for 20, so he's not going to hit 400. I know you were hoping for that, Ben, but. Oh man. So speaking about no hitters being lost, Eduardo had it going today, and your boy Ricky Porcello took one into the 7th yesterday, or the 6th.
I'm sorry, did you say Cy Porcello?
Oh, Cy.
I thought that's what you said.
He did pick up 2 wins this week, I believe, right?
Okay, so according to the Cy Young Predictor, which I've mentioned on this show before, a little something that they do on ESPN somewhere deep in there. I don't even know where the heck they find this information. They do the projections on who's going to win the AL Cy Young, and your boy and mine, Ricky P, #1 by a large margin right now over J.A. Happ, who's been not doing so well over the past couple weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sale is kind of faded from the picture a little bit.
Last time that Ricky P has failed to pitch into the 7th, July 4th.
Wow. Interesting.
That's what you need going into the playoffs. You need 3 guys who can consistently pitch into the 7th inning.
Right. Who are those 3 guys going to be for us?
David Price, Pomeranz, and Ricky P.
Ooh, Pomeranz.
Pomeranz is averaging I think 6 1/3 over his past couple in this month, I believe. So he's doing well.
He has looked well, and that hook is something nice. Unfortunately, his start earlier this week in Tampa, the one Tampa game they lost.
Yep.
He hung. It was like he was left in one batter too late. But I can't say that because it wasn't Farrell's fault. It's like, he was kind of dealing. The guy that came up had 1 home run on the season, like Luke Maley, their catcher. And it's like he hung a curveball. Unfortunately, the dude did not miss it. He hammered it. And that tied the game, and they went on to lose that one. But they took 2 out of 3 from Tampa. at home. And Tampa's no joke. They've been hurting some teams. Toronto, I think they just took 2 out of 3 from Toronto,
Yeah,
didn't they?
they play us hard every time.
Yeah.
So.
And they're going to be that spoiler team with, every other team in the AL East kind of vying for something. The Yanks, a little bit of a stretch. But, certainly Baltimore, the Sox, and Toronto. And those guys are just going to relish in that opportunity to be spoilers. That's why I'm scared. And they have, good starting pitching that's starting to come along. I mean, Odorizzi, Smiley,
Yep.
Archer. These
Yep.
guys can pitch.
Yeah, Archer struggled in the beginning of this year, but, he's legit.
Yeah.
So another note on the Cy Young predictor. Porcello at number 1. Guess who snuck into the number 10 spot?
Steven Wright.
David Price.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, how about
Nice.
that? So
He's
all
been
you
pitching great
haters,
lately.
which kind of included me at the beginning of the year a little bit, but I thought he was going to turn around, and I said, you know what? As long as he rounds into form at the right time, I think we're going to be all right. That's exactly what he's doing. He's rounding into form at the right time. He's on a 5-game win streak right now with a 2.06 ERA over the last 5 games. That is exactly what you wanted to see from David Price heading into the playoffs.
And you know what we're seeing right here is kind of that Greg Maddux metamorphosis, a Maddux-morphosis, if you will. Trademark. Hello. But where a guy is making that transition from thrower to pitcher, because a few starts ago, he didn't have his velocity. He was around 91, but he was on the corners. He was working, north-south as well as east-west. And, he is making that successful transition. And, Boston is not the easiest place to come and play. I mean, especially you're coming from Tampa. I mean, this guy is quoted as saying last year when he was pitching for the Blue Jays that the Sky Dome, or whatever they call it now, Rogers Center, was the most raucous environment he's been a part of in
It's
the playoffs
crazy.
last year.
I can speak from experience. Those Toronto fans are crazy.
They're Canadians. So
they're a Riley
that
bunch
makes
up
sense.
there.
Still, it's not going to be like Fenway come October. Hopefully that Fenway is still a setting for October baseball.
Yep.
And I'm not talking about because they play the regular season to the second now, which is a little ridiculous, but,
One more note on Price, 11 hits in the past 4 starts.
Wow.
Not too shabby.
That is impressive.
Yep.
That is impressive.
Yep.
Let's talk a little bit about these September call-ups, okay? I mean, your boy Joe Kelly's back up, obviously.
Joe Kelly, Ryan Hannigan, Marrero, and Moncada, who
boy.
we led off the show with, Mr. Twinkie Eating Machine, also does some other things well.
He crushed the ball twice today. He had two nice hits.
That is 2 games in a row, 2 2-hit games in a row.
And what's really impressive right off the bat, other than the fact he is a gigantic man who can run like the wind, is his plate discipline is pretty incredible. And I don't know if that's something just innate in him, or do the Red Sox minor leagues, deserve an attaboy for this guy having that much plate discipline. You know how, once Theo came in, it was all about on-base percentage and, walk as good as a hit and get a pitch to hit, put it in a hitter's count and all that stuff. And this guy, for being up in the majors less than a week, he already has a major league eye. It's very impressive.
Well, look, this guy, he's been groomed in Cuba. He's been identified as a stud early on in his life, growing up in Cuba. And he's actually one of the few players that got the official okay from the Cuban government to go ahead and play with the MLB. So that's very uncommon. It's like Puig, he was one of the guys who he had to escape from Cuba. I forget what the exact. He had to defect. So Moncada, he's actually able to play for Cuba during the World Baseball Classic. So, the guys like Puig can't do that. Mm-hmm. So, just a little interesting fact. But like I said, he has been groomed and ready to do this his entire life. So
yeah. Another guy in those September call-ups, guy maybe a little bit off the radar, lefty. Robby Scott.
Yeah.
You know, the guy's got a great story. And, you know, you love to hear these stories about these guys that love the game they stick with. He's 27, had to pitch an independent ball for a long time, and now he is getting that shot. Had a great year in Pawtucket, starting and relieving. And he looked good the other night. He pitched in that first game in the Oakland series, and it was a blowout. So it's good to get these guys' feet wet. You know, I like that Moncada came in the second half of that game as well, you know. And they pitched Scott, and I tell you, he's good. He doesn't. I mean, his fastball might touch 91, but he throws over the top, and he throws from like a 3/4 and then a little lower than 3/4, like almost full sidewinder. It's like, So when you have those, it's almost like you double your amount of pitches. You know, when you have those two different kind of deliveries, and it showed like in minimal. He struck out two guys in the inning he was in, and he looked pretty impressive.
Everything I've heard about him is that he was an absolute workhorse
Right.
in the minors. So, you know, that's exactly what we need. We got tired arms all up and down our relief. And, you know, getting a guy like that who you're not really too worried about wearing out his arm late in the season, I mean, perfect fit for us. So I think that was a good call-up.
That'd be good because I mean, your boy Fernando Abad, since we brought him over, his ERA is kind of hovering in the high fives, I believe. So, you know, he isn't that good. So Robbie Ross can't, you know, take on everybody.
Yeah.
Maybe that Tommy Lane wave was a little bit premature.
Well, another
hopefully
thing.
Robbie Scott fills the bill.
Well, another thing is that Koji is nearing his return as well. So he says he's feeling 100%. So, you know, we're expecting that he'll come back at some point this season, which is great news. I think we need a guy like him to step it up a little bit. Not sure what the results are going to be like when he gets back, but I'm glad to hear that he's getting healthy.
I am too, but I think it's important that we have you know, monitor our expectations because the man is in his 40s.
There's contingency plans in place, Mike. Yeah. Let's put it that way.
Some of those contingency plans might be coming up from Pawtucket when that season ends, and you know, maybe in the form of Rowanus Elliott and you know, Brian Johnson, who's been pitching well the last few weeks in Pawtucket. Maybe even a Henry Owens. You know, maybe one of these guys could kind of figure in the mix in that bullpen as a lefty. But, you know, at the very least, you know, just come up and eat some innings for us in this September. So, you know, we can kind of, you know, recharge some of the guys that are going to be, knock on wood, moving on into October.
Maybe he'll be our fifth starter.
Who? Brian Johnson? Well,
I was thinking Robby Scott.
I mean, I think he's too,
well, you know what I was leading into?
What?
Is that we got word today or yesterday that Wright
He's got that bum shoulder still.
Not really sure if he's going to be pitching again this season.
It's that dire?
I think he's getting a second opinion. I don't want to scare Red Sox Nation,
right,
because there's obviously not been anything official released on this yet, but
right,
he got scratched from his Tuesday start. He's not ready to go yet.
Yeah. I knew that. I didn't know they were talking it could be a season ender. That is a problem.
Yeah, so
is
maybe they're keeping it close to the vest at this point and just kind of saying, look, you know, we're not in a rush to get him back. We need him healthy, but you know, it doesn't make me feel warm and fuzzy.
Right. So Buchholz will be in there on Tuesday, and he's been great since, you know, going to the bullpen. You know, he took his demotion like a man and, you know, bucked up little camper and, you know, was effective in that role as much as he doesn't want it. And then now his last time getting like 3 starts, he's been serviceable, you know. And with Pomerantz going good, you're giving me a face like...
Well, the only thing is that on Tuesday versus the Rays,
yeah,
that 3-4 loss that we talked about,
right, he
gave up the solo shot, Longoria. It was like 430 feet. It was a bomb in the 8th, and that put him up 4-3 to win.
I mean, that's a 30 home run guy. I mean, he's going to hit some bombs now.
Longoria is nasty.
But, you know, Buchholz, he's a starter, you know. And so hopefully now they can kind of, you know, and be smart with Wright, you know. If he's not ready, he's not ready. You know, it's good to have this luxury of having a tenured guy in there as a starter, as well as our roster swelling, you know, with other guys that can come fill that bullpen void that now arises, and also, you know, if somebody falters, maybe give us a few starts here in September. Because it's important that we go in. Actually, I'm not going to say that anymore about October baseball. I'm being a jinx. I'm such a mush.
You want to hear some stats?
Give it to me. Give it to me.
According to Fivethirtyeight.com, which is a great statistical website, they have stats about everything. They have stats about the election polls.
Whoa.
And they broadcast this stuff on ESPN all the time. I'm not sure if they're affiliated. It's great. They got all kinds of stuff.
How's Martin O'Malley doing in the polls?
I don't know if they go that deep.
Oh, okay. All right. Gotcha.
They're saying
All my campaigning.
Red Sox are projected to win 91 games this season as of right now.
I mean, I don't know if we can roll back the tape, but you know who predicted 91 wins?
You had 91?
91, buddy. Boom.
Okay. Well,
No big deal.
538. If you guys are looking for somebody, you got Mike here. You'll have to negotiate with AfterBuzz, but
NBD 91. It still has got to come in, but
87% chance to make the playoffs, 50% chance to win the division, 11% chance to win the World Series.
Wow.
And you know why it's
Wow.
11% to win the World Series?
because the Cubs are 58%.
Because the Cubs are ridiculous.
Yeah.
Let me throw something out there for you, okay?
All right.
Right now, after this Friday just beat down of the Oakland Athletics,
Right.
the Red Sox are now leading the AL in run differential. Okay?
Oh yeah.
So they're essentially, if you're one of those guys who does their rankings by run differential and not really games won and lost, which is a lot of people kind of follow that theory,
Okay.
you would say Red Sox are probably the second best team behind the Cubs. Red Sox 144, Cubs run differential 223.
Ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Yeah, they have a stacked lineup. I mean, how good would it be to have, Rizzo playing first base for the Red Sox right now? As a former Red Sox farmhand. But hey, it's all good. Spilt milk.
Like I said,
we got a good team.
you make the World Series and you got three guys who can pitch into the seventh inning. I think you're in a pretty solid position. I mean, the Cubs got a whole freaking starting rotation of aces, but
Not to mention our first baseman is kind of raking right now. We mentioned his grand slam early in the week.
Yep.
And he has been very, very hot. Mm-hmm. And we were kind of worried about the power numbers and all this stuff. And but he's gotten a little torrid, and he's gonna. How many bombs has he got right now? Like 20, 22?
I think he hit his 19th.
Oh, 19th. All right.
Oh, he might be at 20.
So I mean, he's gonna wind up being mid to high 20s, and it's like it hit like 280. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what do you want? I mean that's good production. The guy's gonna knock over 100 runs in. It's like, what more do you want for a 5-hole hitter?
20 homers.
Boom, he's got 20. Mm-hmm. So he hit that 20 threshold. A month ago, you probably didn't think he was even going to get there. You thought he was going to be like finish the year with about 17 or 18, but he's definitely turned it on.
Speaking of a guy who's turned it on lately at the last minute,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor of Ding Dong City himself, Travis Shaw.
Wow.
Do you think he's a little nervous that old Moncada got called up and he's working off some adrenaline? Because
I
on
was thinking of
Friday,
that.
he went 3 for 6 with a homer, a 3-run homer. He's been looking good lately.
He did hit, that was a bomb, no doubt. Too.
Yeah.
And I was beginning to think that he was called Mayor of Ding Dong City because he was like eating a couple boxes of ding dongs before each game. But he's back to the homers and ding dongs. Maybe he could give a little rival between him and Moncada. Not only are they vying at the plate, but maybe Moncada chokes back the Twinkies. Mayor Ding Dong City with the ding dongs. Boom, they can have a little race. Like how many can eat which in like the next 15 minutes? Let me in on that with some Suzy Q's.
So is that Moncada's new nickname, the Mayor of Twinkie City?
Right? Well, we got to come up with something.
Okay.
But
fair enough.
that's solely T-Shaw's. I mean, I don't know who came up with that, but I just saw it on Baseball Reference, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
the yeah, I mean that's unbelievable. We're spending all this time thinking Moncada is going to come up and kind of change the dynamic with his play, but maybe simply his presence and the feel of his hot breath on the back of T. Shaw's neck will give us production in that regard. In third base, because I mean, up to this recent explosion, T. Shaw was hitting under 200, since in the second half. And, Aaron Hilson's coming over. He was hitting under 200 too. So it's like, I heard all these people talking when Moncada was coming up, like, oh, he's going to be a pinch runner. I'm like, that's ridiculous, misappropriation of resources. Throw him in there.
I think, right-handed bat and pinch runner in some situations.
Yeah.
Even though I think he's actually better as a lefty.
No, he is better as a lefty. So that's why he's going to be
But
in
I
there
think they'll probably
now.
split him and Travis Shaw depending on who's pitching.
That's what they say.
And that'll probably leave Aaron Hill on the outside.
Aaron Hill could still see some lefties.
Okay.
But I think it's going to be a lot of... They say that Moncada is going to be going against most of the righties. So I think in hearing it, when he was brought up and Farrell talking, it sounded like T. Shaw was going to be kind of the odd man out. Whether his recent explosion is kind of, changed the needle on that.
Because Aaron Hill's been slumping lately.
He has too. I mean, that's a guy that there's going to be some growing pains with him, because he's a guy that is used to getting more at bats than he is. So that not everybody can make that transition, from a guy who's getting, 30, 25 at bats a week to a guy that's getting, 3 to 5,
Right.
So, 3 to 6. So,
but going into Wednesday's game, he was on a 0 for 20 skid. He did have the go-ahead single in the 8th, though.
that was a big hit for him.
So it was a big hit, but yeah.
I think he can still be a valuable bench player. I mean, the guy can play adequate defense, probably above average defense at third, and pretty adequate at second and short. So, he's kind of that Josh Rutledge type that we had last year. Why would we compare to last year's team? That was so horrible. But he's a veteran bat off the bench, and I kind of like that.
Yeah.
What else happened this past week that was like amazing? Oh, why do people continue to run on Mookie Betts?
They were talking about that because I think now Jackie Bradley Jr. and Mookie both have 12 assists, and they're saying there's no way that they're going to get this many assists next year, right? It's because people are running on them and trying to test them out, and eventually they're just going to get to a point where they're not going to run on him anymore because they don't want to test the arm. They've seen it enough.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to get to that point, but people are still testing it, and they are just
he threw that
dialing
guy
it in
second the other night for the A's,
Man.
and then in that Tampa series, which was fantastic, he threw the guy out at second before the kid crossed the plate, so it nullified that run. They didn't end up scoring that run.
Yep.
Remember that? And that kid got cut the next day. He didn't get cut. He got designated for assignment for not hustling.
Ouch.
And he was like on a hot streak. I mean, that's the type of example you can make of somebody when you're like 20 games out of first place,
Yep.
But that kid was like stroking. He was like in a career long hit streak. Like I don't know if it was long, but in like 5 games he had like a hit in every game and multiple hits in like 4 of them.
Yeah.
And he was rolling. One thing I wanted to go back when we're talking about hit streaks is old Dustin Pedroia. One thing I heard today about on Elias, so the stat guys, they Elias. I'm getting it confused with Rowenis. Elias. Elias Sports.
Yep.
They said that he was the only Red Sox hitter of all time to have 6 different hitting streaks of 10 or more games in a single season.
Wow.
That's the shit.
Interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
That's all.
That's digging deep for some stats, though.
That's just listening during the telecast. That's all. Do we have
Pedroia reached base 31 straight at Fenway going now.
What?
As of Wednesday. Not sure if he did that Friday, Saturday, or Sunday.
That kid is, he's just got a great eye, and he hammers when he's in the zone. And he's better at going the other way than maybe anybody in the bigs. He hits balls that are off the plate. Dunk. Right into
Don't
it.
pitch him a high heater.
Crazy.
He'll hit it.
Do we have somebody from joining us from the Twitterverse or out in?
Yeah, we
Ding Dong
got
City?
someone here on YouTube.
Love that.
MW2 Geek 99 says, "Sup, fellas." He went to yesterday's game and says that it was dope. Moncada was smooth at the third.
Mm-hmm.
Then he's asking about Koji's return
Yep.
and Vasquez coming off the DL.
Oh.
That's nice.
We talked about Koji coming back.
Koji's going to be coming back probably this week. You know,
Yeah.
we'll figure into that kind of 7th and 8th inning mix. They'll probably bring him in slowly. You know, maybe in a few games that are, you know, not too tight. And then hopefully, I mean, because that 8th inning job is up for the taking. So really, anybody that strings together some good stats is going to be kind of relied upon in that thing. But MW Geek 99, he's a faithful viewer. You know, it's good to hear from him.
A Red Sox fan in Oakland.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I was that for 3 years.
Have you ever been to the Oakland Park?
I have many times.
It's depressing.
It is. It is. Did you see it this week with that field? It's ridiculous.
God.
And Vasquez coming off the DL.
I don't
know
understand
about
what
that.
they can't just like take the lines off the field, like paint over them green or something.
Oh, and it's
God,
just
it's like just
And then there was like
Poor
stands in
effort.
center field. They're like this big like thing that, and then there was a chemical spill, and it's terrible. It's terrible.
they block off the entire second level of the stadium because they can't even fill the first level.
I can't. Oh man, I had some fond memories up there though. They used to have this $1 Wednesdays. So when I was living up in San Francisco, we would go over there because we were, you know, not rich, and go over $1 Wednesdays. You get like a skybox seat for $1.
Yep.
And $1 hot dogs. So
Oh, damn.
beers were still regular price. So we used to, you know, jock in a flask of Jack Daniels.
Hey, no
spice some
complaints
Cokes,
about that though.
you know, it was good stuff. Good
Dollar
stuff.
hot
Thank
dogs.
you for the shout out.
What are
And you know,
Fenway Franks
you know,
nowadays?
we're very transparent here on the program. So I was unaware that Christian Vasquez was on the DL, but I'm sure he'll be joining the parent club when he comes back. You would think, such a
Yeah.
positive guy to have around. But
Will he?
you don't think so? They're just gonna let him go play
I thought they.
fall ball down in Venezuela? They should let him do that. They should let him go down there with Sandy Leon, play down with Carlos Guillen.
Okay.
That's where they should
Okay.
send him.
Okay.
All right, you hearing me, Farrell? Or I mean, Dombrowski?
Definitely
Mike Hazen?
do not put him in left field. Whatever you do.
Christian Vasquez?
I'm just saying.
There's no shot that's gonna happen.
It's just like a black hole for all of our players, you know?
Rest easy. Rest
Gosh,
easy.
gosh.
It truly is.
Okay.
Thank you for the shout out. We love that. MW Geek 299.
Speaking of guys coming off the DL, also Benintendi spotted running before the pregame.
Oof,
Looked good.
that's good.
Don't
Don't rush him back though.
rush him back, but
Yeah,
he was jogging, he was running, it looked good.
yeah.
I don't know if he's done any fielding or swinging the bat or anything, but I mean that's definitely a good sign, right?
It is. It is. I want to get to next week and just look ahead there, because you know this week was a pretty good week for, you know, you're playing some of the lowly guys, so you were hoping that maybe we could have gone better than 4-2 this week, but still a winning week for the Red Sox. So they're in the midst of this 9-game road trip, just one of the many they've had in the second half here, and so now they go down to San Diego for 3 with San Diego. Interesting matchup tomorrow where Drew Pomeranz faces his old team. And I'm just going to go out and throw a bold prediction out there for you, okay? After 2 near no-hitters from the Red Sox, Drew Pomeranz is going to get it done versus old team tomorrow. I'm calling a no-hitter. Boom.
That would be
Oh,
fantastic.
Labor Day no-hitter for Drew Pomeranz. Ooh, we got someone from the Twitterverse?
We just have another guy, Lance Broussard. He wanted a shout out. He said, "What's up, guys?"
Love it, Lance. Keep listening, brother.
Shout
Appreciate
outs,
it.
Lance.
Love that. Love that. So they'll go to 3 for San Diego. San Diego, you know, they're the last team in the NL West. So you would like us to be able to maybe take 2 out of 3 from those, and then a gigantic series after Thursday off. Toronto, and this starts us off this big stretch with all AL East teams, 3 with Toronto. Then we're back at Fenway for 3 with Baltimore, 4 with the Yankees. So, and then back to 2 Baltimore, 2 Tampa. So we're coming up in this stretch run where after the San Diego series, all our remaining games are versus AL East opponents. So this is really October baseball in September is what we're going to see. But it'd be nice to, potentially get 2 out of 3 from Toronto, as well this week, and maybe make up some ground. And it seems like we haven't seen them in a while, but it'll be good because we've been doing a lot of scoreboard watching. This is the first time we're going to see Toronto in the second half. So, it'll be good to have the team you're chasing directly in front of you, So, we're going to get out of here. Anything real quick. Don't open up another can of worms here.
I know you guys have been waiting for the answer. Mookie was the 4th Red Sox to hit 30 home runs, 20 stolen bases in a season. The other 3, you want to take a guess?
Fred Lynn.
Nope.
Ellis Burks.
Nope.
Ted Williams.
Nope.
Kyle Yastrzemski.
Yaz.
Okay.
Ellsbury.
Oh, yeah, Ellsbury, of course.
And one more.
Tommy
He's a very
Harper?
famous Red Sox, and he was alive when I was alive. I grew up watching this guy.
Really?
Mr. Noma Garciaparra.
Oh, Noma. Gotta love it. Now he calls Dodgers games. Well, gang, thanks for tuning in for us. For Ben and Laura on the couch. Laura, thanks for helping us out.
You got
and
it.
for Ben Fay, I'm Mike Conley. Thanks for tuning in for us for another edition of Red Sox Wrap 360. Go Sox. Rest in peace, Jack.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.